Well, hey folks, my name is Brad, and today I am back to the Clover field. Now, if you happened to miss my last adventure here, in just 2 short hours, I found a ton of awesome treasures from the 17 and 1800s. I'll link that video down below in case you missed it. Today, I have all day. No place to be except here. I cannot wait. I'm gonna get my metal detector out, see what we can find. All right, hopefully you can hear this. That is a 91. Hoping it's gonna be something exciting here. Let's dig it up together. That's a rock. Well, it's in the plug. Oh, yes. Perhaps you can see right here, that appears to be an old copper coin. I was hoping we would find one of these today. Let's see together what we've got here. Oh, it's pretty corroded. Judging by the thickness, I'm wondering if this is actually a large cent. Yeah, 1802. Well, that is almost the 1700s. Almost all of the other coins that I've found here in the past were British and some state coins from the 1700s. But this is where I found my very first large cent. And here we have another one. Drape bust. I can still remember how much I was buzzing when I found that very first big old copper coin from 200 years ago. Hooked me for life, I think. 1 cent, but with inflation and all that, this would have been worth probably closer to $1. Maybe there'll be more. Let's find out. Well, I'm slowly getting further and further away from where the home actually was, and I'm still finding home items out here, which is pretty exciting. I'm not sure if maybe there's another dwelling or maybe just the plow pushed stuff this direction. But over here, maybe you can see I have another little thimble. Second one, my most recent trips to this place. Again, a tailor's thimble. So your finger could protrude through the end, gives you a little bit more dexterity when sewing. And this one is not broken. I'm going to leave the dirt in there so that it does not get crushed in my little treasure box. And there's a lot of misconceptions about the purpose of a thimble. Folks think it's just to protect your finger from getting poked, and while I guess it probably does do that, all of these little dimples in a thimble is designed to catch the backside of a needle and be a hard surface to push the needle through. Anybody who's ever pushed a needle through something with their thumb knows that you can't do that very long before your thumb starts to hurt. So this just serves as almost like an anvil for the back of a needle to push through leather or canvas or what have you. Very cool. Tailor's thimble, several hundred feet away from the main home. Hopefully that means there's more stuff out here. Let's find out. Well, I think I mentioned in the last video when I was here that this was the very first place I ever found a shoe buckle. And if you're not sure what a shoe buckle is, if you think about what the quintessential pilgrim footwear was, they had this big old buckle on their shoe. We occasionally find those metal detecting. And I just found not the shoe buckle frame, but the inner workings of it. You can see down here, I don't think it's all here, unfortunately, but we can certainly tell what it is. So we're missing maybe a quarter of it here. This would have been a big loop with a couple teeth. There's a couple teeth here, and then this is the fork that would have come down. So it's actually a lot less than I thought was there, but you certainly can tell what it is. They have an iconic shape, and this would have essentially been the locking mechanism for the leather strap that would have woven through this. It doesn't get much more 1700s metal detecting than finding shoe buckle fragments. It has been a while for me personally since I found anything shoe buckle related. I don't think I found any this year. This would be the first all the way to October now. And in fact, I'm gonna have to check the shoe buckle that I found here 6, 7 years ago. See if this fits inside. Probably won't since we're missing a bunch of it, but they can certainly be displayed together. So I have something here I'm very excited about. This is pretty awesome. So it's not uncommon whatsoever to find something called saddle shields. When on a saddle is just a little brass adornment. And at first, I thought that was what this is. Maybe you can see here. It looks like an arrow. But I looked at the back, and just to be sure, I sent a photo to a friend who would know. And he relayed back to me my suspicions that based on these loops and the lack of more of a rivet design, which would be on a saddle shield, based on these designs, this went to a musket, an old musket. This would have been an escutcheon, and he said it was more than likely on a fowler. That is amazing. Now, there were a whole bunch of different parts of these old muskets that were made out of brass. Some of them were made to, accept the ramrod. Some were like a trap door for the musket tools. This, it seems, was just an escutcheon, something to make it look pretty. That is an awesome find, an old musket part. I would have been happy with a saddle shield, but this has me excited. So the last time that I was here, I found a little piece of what I thought was maybe lead pewter that was a strap guide, maybe on a saddle or some other piece of horse tack. I had mentioned that there was actually two parts of that, and what we have here is the other part. I don't know if this necessarily went to the one I found, but this is one of those backing plates for one of those strap guides. I would suspect since this one is brass and the other one was like a lead pewter material, this is not the same one, but so you can imagine this would have been up against the leather. We would have had the little U-shaped guide, and the strap would have gone through to keep everything nice and tidy and strong. This is, as I had mentioned last time, a common find here. I don't know, I found half a dozen of them. And I mentioned that to the landowner, and they said, well, they were pretty sure that after this building was gone, this land was farmed using horses for centuries. There's a good chance this doesn't necessarily belong to the occupants that lived here, but the folks that farmed this land afterwards. Hard to say. Still, very interesting. Man, this artifact was incredibly deep. And sometimes you'll dig a hole quite a ways, and then you realize you just missed, and it was kind of like in the side wall. Not as deep as you're anticipating, but this one was at the bottom. Without a doubt, this was a foot down. And the reason I could hear it so well is because of how big it is, you can see. A solid brass spigot handle. Now this is, without a doubt, period with this home. This didn't fall off a tractor 40 years ago. The green patina on here, we have the taper for where it would have inserted into maybe a barrel and turned to release the contents, whether it was water, beer. It's just so exciting being in a field, and oftentimes when I'm metal detecting in fields, we're finding, agricultural things, relics that people lost when they were working in the fields, but there was a home underground right over there, and so we're finding home things. This would have gotten a lot of use. A lot of hands would have touched this a couple hundred years ago. Well, I just found probably one of the deepest artifacts I found all day. I just can't get over how deep things can be in plowed fields like this. I'm used to the forest, everything is 4 or 5 inches down, but here, plow turns things under. This target was not great, And maybe you can see down there in the hole, it's something round. Is it a button? Is it a coin? Let's find out together here. It's certainly thick enough to be a coin. No shank, so we're gonna guess coin. Can't tell. See a little bit of text. I'm gonna get a spray, see if we can get it cleaned up a little bit. All right, well, this coin is incredibly smooth, but I can make out a right-facing bust, what is likely a British king. Right here, you can almost make out Britannia, and then here, you can just make out the left-facing George II. I think I might actually see a CO, which leads me to believe this might actually be a Connecticut copper. And one question I had when I started learning about these state coins is, why did they put the British king on it? You know, if we wanted to be separated from them. And the reason is the folks that were here were just used to seeing the British king on coins, and people were not super trustworthy of new coinage, so they put that face on there just so people would use the coins. Kind of interesting. Likely from the 1780s, I would guess, if it is in fact a Connecticut copper. You can kind of see the CO up here now. Amazing find. Well, the very first thing that I found here this morning was this tiny little fragment of a buckle. It would have been one of these beautiful little horse tack buckles that, they almost look like a little flower. And I found several of the very large-sized ones, but I have not found very many this size. But I just got a complete one just now, and it's even smaller, and it's perfect. Look. You can see it's the same style, but smaller. And I don't believe that this is what you would consider a colonial knee buckle. Folks wore these tall socks and short pants, and they had little buckles around the bottom of the pants. But I do believe, because of the design, that this is, in fact, horse tack. The straps, that would have gone through that strap guide, would have gone through one of these as well. Pin is gone. The pins are usually iron, so those dissolve away in the ground over time. But the brass sticks around. Beautiful. They came in all sizes, so it almost fits inside this one. Great find, little buckle. All right, well, this is a very simple object, but I'm super excited because I've never found one of these. And it's just a fragment of one, but man, how cool. So upon first glance, it might be hard to tell exactly what this is. Any guesses? This is just a tiny little fragment of a pair of 1700s glasses. You can see that there is a little groove in here for the lens to sit in. Man, look at that. So it looks like the lenses were more than likely round, circular, and quite small. I would love to find a whole pair one day, but it seems pretty unlikely. Man, a tiny little fragment of a pair of 1700s eyeglasses. That's a first. All right, folks, well, I am calling it quits for another day here in the Clover field. Another day of firsts. This place is so amazing. Every time I come, I fill up my treasure box. I'm not sure I could fit anything else in it today. I've got everything I found out here laid out. Let's take a look at it. All right, look at all of this 1700s treasure. Such a great day. Over here we have about a dozen buttons, all different materials. We have a lead pewter there, there's some brass ones, we have some white bronze, and again with the engraving. Beautiful. Tap handle, a couple rivets, 4 musket balls today to go along with the musket escutcheon. We've got a clay pipe stem, unfortunately broken from the pipe bowl, thimble, variety of buckles here, also including the shoe buckle chape and fork fragments. One of my favorite things to find for sure. Strap guide, our glasses fragment. Man, if this thing was complete, that would be the find of the year for me. Unfortunately, we just have a little small piece, but we can still tell what it is. And then the 2 coins. This is without a doubt a drape bust large cent. I believe it was 1802. And this one, I'm still on the fence. I believe it is a Connecticut copper. Absolutely fantastic day. All right, folks. Well, I want to thank you again for watching. If this is one of my first videos that you've seen, I post one of these every single Friday. So if you like what you saw today, consider subscribing or just come on back next week. Hopefully I'll see you then.